Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Parish Online Live. Today I've swapped the office for the beautiful city of Bath and we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. Some of you may be aware that Parish Online comes in different variations for district, county and central government organisations as well as businesses that all use the mapping software. But our parent company Geosphere, as well as producing mapping software, also produces revolutionary survey equipment, and today we have our ground survey system that normally sits on a car and we're going to be trying it out on a canal boat. So we're going to show you what the system looks like, how we put it together and how the data is going to be used. So we hope you find this useful and you can see a little bit more about what our company gets up to day to day as well as Parish Online. Hope you enjoy it. So we're now on the pontoon and we're just getting the camera system ready on the boat, but I'm here with Martin Laker, who's GIS team leader for Bath and North East Somerset Council. So Martin, tell us a bit about this project and what you want to use the information for.
Well, we've always really found useful the car-based photography, and we're really thinking now in Bath about the regeneration of the river and the river corridor, but we have no idea what Bath looks like from the river. So the thought was that if we could mount the car camera onto a boat, we would be able to then have a river view as opposed to a street view. So this will be interesting to our planners, to our regeneration people, our property people. It'll also be interesting to our highway engineers who would love to have decent photographs of the bridges from the underside, because actually they find that quite hard to get. And if you have to commission a boat especially just to look at the underside of a single bridge, that's quite an expensive operation. But if we can take photographs under the bridges with this boat, we've got a reference set all taken at on the same day. So that's the basics of why we want it. But we found with street level photography that a great number of uses came out of the wash that we hadn't thought of. So I'm expecting that lots of other people will come up with uses that I can't imagine at the moment.
Okay, so we've got Claire here now from Bath and North Somerset Council as well. She's from the planning department. So what are you hoping that this data can give for you?
So Carl, what we're hoping to use this mapping to, for example, look at some of the development sites from the water and show how they're going to change over the coming years. Also, we've been doing a lot of ecological surveying, so we can sort of show what the river looks like from a kind of bat perspective or from wildlife perspective, because a lot of wildlife uses the river to navigate through the city. And I think it will just really uncover a totally different view of Bath that people maybe haven't seen before. So we're hoping to use it in lots of different ways, but quite practical really. We're wanting to sort of use the mapping and the images to sort of show people what could be possible, what's there now, and encourage more people to use and enjoy the river. Yeah,
so the point we made earlier as well was the fact that there's a lot of development going on in Bath, particularly around the waterways now, so this would be a really good snapshot of what it was like before this development takes place.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think you'll notice when you go out today, they've got some really big sites like Bath Quays Waterside, with the new parks being resculpted, all the new trees have gone in. We've got Rosebery Place up by Windsor Bridge, where again huge area has been demolished, suddenly now opens up a new part of town to the river.
So we're on the river now and it's nice and sunny and the camera's been running for a good hour or so. It's captured lots of good imagery. We've got Chris here, who's the MD of Geosphere, and he's just going to give us a bit of rundown as to the system and what we're doing today and how it can be used.
Thanks. Yeah, well we're capturing high resolution panoramic photographs here, and we're taking one about every 5 meters down this river. So we're going to capture lots of information about what's going on the riverside, how it can be improved, what problems there are, and yeah, it's going to be a really interesting survey. It's the first one we've done here in Bath, in the country in fact. Yeah. So it's been a really interesting thing. The technology is working really well. We've got our 30 megapixel panoramic camera which takes images just like you see on Google Street View. And we've also got time-stamped GPS information with it as well, so we know exactly where each image was taken, and we can refer back to that when we look in Parish Online on the website. Yeah, so we're gonna be out here all day.
Yeah, gonna get very burnt, I think. But
I think we might get a bit burnt. Yeah.
So, as I mentioned earlier, this system was originated on a car, so we have a little hatchback car that the system goes on top of, and a few parish councils have actually commissioned us to go and do a survey, so they have this same kind of data but on the streets and the lanes around your settlement, and that's something that we can do for you as well. So we've been asked to come out and do it on a waterway as well, but if you're interested, then send us an email to the usual address. We'll put it in the notes below, and we can sort something out for you. So it's been a couple of days now since we did the surveys around the waterways at Bath, and we've processed the data and we've uploaded it into our online GIS system, and it's viewable here in Parish Online. And I thought I'd just take a couple of minutes just to show you a bit of what the data looks like and what we can do with it. So each photo that we took has a 360-degree view, so we can navigate around this and view the entire scene that we took at each 5-meter interval. And we can zoom in and we can start looking at the quality of the walls, the river banks, looking at the habitats that are there and any issues that might need to be addressed. And this data is really handy because, as Martin said, you don't often get to see Bath from the river and get that perspective. So this survey is what allows them to do that. So we're in full screen mode at the moment, but I can also collapse that so we can see the map as well. I'm just going to move us down the river a little bit so we can have a look at a few other bits and pieces that we've taken a survey of. You can just start to build up an idea of the data and how it can be used. Some of the footage that we showed you from the survey showed you this development that's going on here on the riverside, just behind where the old coach park was. You can see there's a lot of work going on here, so it's a good snapshot of the data of the scene as it is now, and we'll be able to capture that again in a year or 2 years' time and see what's changed. One of the really interesting uses that Martin wanted the data for was to have a look at the underside of the bridges. So this is where this comes in really handy, so we can really inspect and get up close underneath this bridge and start looking at the structure, the support, see its integrity, analyse that without having to send someone down on a rope or charter a boat to have a look at that. If I click on one of these blobs, I can also go up onto the road as we've surveyed the road above it, and we can have a look at the road and the bridge from above. So we're getting a really good idea of the bridge in its entirety and the structure from the top on the road and from below from the river. So we hope you enjoyed this very brief look at our survey of the waterways in Bath and an overview of our XCAM G system, which is the camera system that we use to capture the imagery. As I mentioned in the video earlier on, we can capture this imagery on waterways and also from our car to replicate Google Street View data. The benefit of our data is that we can go anywhere that we have permission to go to, not just public places. Every image is date and time stamped and it's got GPS information on it. You can also use the viewer to do measurements, 3D measurements to measure the heights or areas of objects as well. If you're interested in getting some of this data for your parish, then send us an email to support@parish-online.co.uk. Give us a brief area of interest, which roads you'd like us to do, and then we can give you a quote and a price for that. Next week we'll be back in the office and I'll be answering some more of your questions and also revealing our top 5 users for May, so I hope you can join us then.